The sequel sucks is a myth.
We have a not true.
The sequel always sucks. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as movie sequels anyway. Great solo movie, then tarnished by its sequel, unable to capture that lightning in the bolt. And I do want to preface, when we talk about sequels, we're talking about second movie in particular. By definition, published work that continues the story or develops the theme of the earlier one. So technically, I guess third and fourth and fifth movies kind of sequels. It's just too much to keep track of. Sequels is the second movie, okay? It's the second one. How can something so blatantly true and so unbelievably common be a myth? It's a myth because I don't think it is so blatantly true and so unbelievably common. And I think that's partly down to maybe a couple things. A couple things that I'll be honest, only loosely researched. The first one being maybe apophenia, seeing patterns that aren't there. For example, having a favorite number because you see it everywhere, it's always popping up in your life. You're in your house and it happened to be the door number. Your friend just got married and it's your table number. It feels so common, it's like every time you check your phone to see what the time is, there that number is. Again, it's like wherever you go, it follows. When in reality, the fact your door number happened to be your favorite number and also happened to be the table number, and the fact you're also always seeing it on your phone every time you check the time, you're not. You probably check the time on your phone hundreds of times a week and you see multiple different numbers, but your brain ignores and forgets those numbers and only remembers the time when you see that number that keeps popping up. You're making connections between all those things. You're creating patterns that aren't there. Patterns maybe like bad sequels. You know, you saw a couple out of 100, but what you remember is, oh, Jaws 2 wasn't great. Oh, and I remember Iron Man 2 being an absolute stinker compared to the first. And yes, those 2 points are true. Iron Man 2 fucking sucked. Team Terrence Howard. But this actually leads me into a better definition of, again, something I loosely researched about 20 minutes ago. Selective perception. The tendency not to notice and or to quickly forget stimuli that contradicts our prior belief. For example, I love football. Football is fun. Football is full of old cliches that you're told non-stop as a kid or you grow up and watch it. One of which being 2-0 up at half time is one of the most dangerous score lines, and they're talking about the team that's 2-0 up here. The idea is that if you're 1-0 up, then you're still alert enough to the dangers that you could lose that lead, and if you're 3-0 up, then you're safe enough to the point that even if you do relax and let a goal in, you'll be okay. Whereas with a 2-goal lead, you feel like you're in the driver's seat, when in reality, all which really needs to happen is you concede 1 goal and your lead is completely half, and then there's a complete momentum swing, and now apparently you're more likely to draw or even lose that game. Now there probably is some good, great examples of that happening, and probably very high profile examples as well, hence why it's became such a household phrase. But that doesn't mean it's actually happening anywhere near the amount that you'd be led to believe from the phrase. It all makes sense in theory, but when you check the statistics of teams who actually went on to lose or draw a game, but it's actually below 10%. Similar feeling maybe to like the Mandela effect. Finding out your favorite logo didn't have an S in it. You know, it's like my whole life's a lie. But just like before, we naturally choose to ignore all these other score lines because they contradict our prior beliefs. Just like how we are ignoring the sequels that are The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, Toy Story 2, Empire Strikes Back, The Winter Soldier, Blade Runner 2049, Shrek 2, Top Gun Maverick, The Two Towers, and I don't even like Lord of the Rings. Damn it, I just got a bunch of dislikes for saying that. But we are ignoring all these great examples because they contradict our belief. I'm sounding like a broken record here. You get the point. It's important to mention as well that all those movies are ones that I think most people would consider to be better than the originals as well. And that's not the only criteria to be a movie that doesn't fit into the category of that sequels are bad. Like, you don't just have to be way better than the original for you to not be a bad film. The sequel doesn't even have to be better than the original. I think it can be just as good, and even in some cases, it can be worse than the original and still be a great film. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, 22, Jump Street, Deadpool 2, Home Alone 2, Ghostbusters, Afterlife. Now, whatever you'd rank these movies compared to the original, better, worse, the same, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. I think it's safe to say that for all these movies, they're not bad films. I think the next category down from that would be films that people may just genuinely view as bad or unnecessary cash grab. Films like most of Disney sequels from about 2 decades ago. But even if you watch these films, although yes, they are probably unnecessary and maybe made to be cash grabs, I guess they're bad sequels because maybe they're bad continuation of the original story. But I feel like when most people say the whole phrase sequels are bad, they're talking about them just being like shitty movies in general. But in their own right, they're still actually decent enough movies if you actually sit and watch them. And the final flaw of it all is just the abhorrent trash, undeniable garbage which we can't try and gloss over. We can't polish this turd because obviously bad sequels, they do exist, and there is many of them. But as I did my research, I came to realize that most of them came from movies that were not huge to begin with anyway, like the ones I mentioned earlier, or a large portion of them were like kids movies, as I think that's where cash grab sequels actually make the most sense and are the most effective. I actually think shitty sequels are just becoming less common these days, as it isn't financially worth it. People like easily see through it, and it's far more effective to actually take the time with your sequels, because these days cinema seems to be focused around successful sequels, successful prequels, successful whole ass fucking cinematic universes at this point, let's be honest. And you can see that with Marvel, Dune, Avatar, plus and I think Disney and co found a new method of quick cash grabs, and they're not sequels. Best way to make money off their originals now seem to be reboots and live action adaptations, and hopefully they can follow the path of sequels, in my opinion, and within the next 50 years they can fight against their then to be stereotypes and actually be half decent. At least I would like one at least half decent live action film, you know, maybe give Avatar The Last Airbender the 50th shot in year 2057. I'll be there, skin sagging. Anyway, sequels didn't pay me to make this video. I don't know why I'm defending them with my life, but if you like this video, drop it a like. Comment down below your favorite sequel to help boost my point. The sun is coming out right now and my eyebrows have disappeared. But yeah, subscribe if you're new. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully I'll be back with another one soon. Thanks again and goodbye. See you in the sequel.